Welcome back. Another episode of One on One.
Yes, sir.
It's been a few weeks. We've been out a few weeks, but we back. You feel me? Ready to break things down. I've been missing that a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. We've been out of action.
I miss one-on-one, man. Just getting together, talking about what's happened during
Sure.
that past week. You feel me? It's definitely a great time. What's been going on as of recently? For some reason, I don't know if it's like that where y'all are, but Philly, it was cold for like about a week, right? I
Bro.
thought we was about to start getting chilly, start having a bundling up and stuff. This last 2-3 weeks, it's literally been like 70s, 80s,
Bro.
like it's crazy.
Bro, the weather has been crazy, bro. Like the end of October, like you said, was getting chilly a little bit. And like over the past week, bro, like it just went the opposite spectrum, and now it's just like hot as hell every day, bro.
Wow.
Like even right now, I'm hot. I got a whole hoodie. You would think it's good November attire.
No,
like,
no, really. I don't even got a hoodie, and I got a t-shirt and shorts on. Like that just
This is
shows
crazy.
you what's going on right now.
This is crazy. Like I've never been one to really delve into like the global warming talk, but like, bro, I don't know what's going on, bro. It feel like August right now, bro. It's like the
Bro.
beginning of the school year.
Big year too. 2024. Obviously, election
Yes.
just happened, just went by. Obviously, very monumental an event. What's the overall thoughts?
I feel like overall, like it's crazy about the election. Like it's crazy how last week it was just like everything was cool, Halloween, everybody was getting ready for that, and now like the whole spectrum has changed. Like it's just been a lot of, I'll say overall controversy, but,
Yeah.
like unnecessary too. I know a lot of people are passionate behind these politics and stuff, and me, I won't say that I'm one of those people, but there's been a lot of different discussions about whether which candidate was better to run for that position. But overall, it's crazy how Trump is still in office, like, or back in office, I should say. And now that he's the 47th president. And another thing that was crazy is like, I'm surprised we got the results that fast. Like, I know 2020 was a little different
Yeah.
with like mail-in ballots and
Yeah.
everything and COVID, but like, it's crazy. Like by that night and the next morning, they said like it was official. Trump got the spot. So
But
that was crazy.
yeah, it was by a solid margin too, and he was
Mhm.
basically leading the whole way. Like you said, it's kind of crazy that he's back in office, but not I don't know. How to really
Not
explain
surprising?
it. Not surprising. Like you, I wouldn't say I'm like a total all into politics, but as I'm getting older, I'm starting to get into it. Dive more into that because I'm gonna have to. You feel me?
Right.
That's gonna be important to me, but. It was a crazy election. Definitely a lot of mixed reviews I'm hearing. Touchy subject, so I don't want to go too into it. But overall, it's been a crazy week, though.
It has been a crazy week, but shit, you know what's crazier? The Washington Commanders making that trade deadline move. This trade deadline week, I'm not gonna say it was disappointing because I think it was one of those trade seasons where we got the bigger moves that were gonna happen early.
Early.
You know what I mean? Like Devontae to the Jets,
Yeah.
Amari Cooper to the Bills. That's been weeks in the making already.
I still feel like those are probably the two biggest
That's
moves.
the two biggest right there.
Probably.
I think on the
this up
defensive
there.
side, on the
This up
defensive
there.
side is definitely the biggest move. And the Commanders, like just talking about them, like the year that they had, like last year, they sold a couple pieces. They traded Montez Sweat to the Bears. They traded Chase Young to the 49ers. They were in seller's mode. And now after drafting your franchise quarterback, Jaden Daniels, surrounding him with different pieces, hiring Dan Quinn as your head coach, and being what they are, 7-1, 7-2?
72, 62, something like
6-2 around now. It's crazy how they're in the spot where they're buyers and they're now the first seed in the NFC East, which I would have never thought I would be saying this season. But overall, I mean, this is a big move for their defense, bro.
No, yeah.
This is a big move. Like,
As an Eagles fan, how you feel? Like now they got somebody. Usually the years prior we would say, Washington secondary torturable. You feel
Yes.
me? We feel good when we go against them. Obviously, y'all haven't seen them yet, but we know what they're probably gonna do offensively. They're gonna look good. Now, if their defense starts stepping up to par, is this a team we actually got to worry about? Like,
I think so. I mean, like you said, like we haven't seen the Commanders yet, and I think they acknowledge that, like, yeah, they've been good so far, but the schedule only gets tougher here
All right.
as far as the regular season. And bulking up on that side was important. Like you said, their offense is going to do their thing, but in the air defensively, they can't just be like a walking 80 to 100 yards for an opposing receiver. And getting to play like Marshawn Lattimore, that's a big deal. Now, on the other spectrum of things, I didn't expect the Saints to really trade him. Like, I know they had their first two good games part of the season, and then they started falling apart after that. But I don't know. I think he was a big staple of their defense, their culture, and I was shocked that they made the move at least right now. I was shocked.
I'm definitely shocked. I thought he was gonna be a Saint for life,
Right.
one of them type of dudes. Definitely still a good player too. Like, I think this is pretty big for the Commanders, especially as a Steelers fan. We played them this week. This is going to be a pretty big week for us too.
Sure.
Both teams 6-2 heading into this game. I think this is going to prove a lot for both teams. Honestly,
Really, bro.
who you got in that one? Commanders at home.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I've been liking what I've been seeing from the Steelers. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
But I think the Commanders get it done at home.
Commanders get it
I
done
think
at home.
it's
You
gonna
think
be-
this is more like a high scoring game, or like the Commanders defense show up first game where Russ struggled a little bit?
I don't think so. I think the Steelers defense is gonna give Jaden Daniels some trouble.
Okay.
Like you said, Alex Highsmith, T.J. Watt, like that side, that's not in the play with either. But I think the Commanders overall do get it done. They should be getting Brian Robinson back. He missed the last game due to an injury and had Austin Eckler in the backfield for the most part. So getting that back would be definitely a big addition. Terry McLaurin still been doing his thing.
Yeah.
They've been still working to get Noah Brown incorporated in the offense and building him up. I was surprised they didn't make a move for a receiver, but I think the defensive move was more necessary. Jaden Daniels, he's been doing the most he can with what he has, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I mean, getting Lattimore, I can't say that was a bad move at all. So overall, I mean, that is a good game. 2 6-2 teams.
All right.
But I will say, depending how bad a loss is for either team, I don't think it's the end of the world. Like,
For either team.
yes, like I still walk away looking at both those situations as I'm optimistic about both those teams going into the playoffs.
No, 100%. But like you said earlier, the schedules only get tougher from here. The Steelers, we got to play the Bengals twice, the Ravens twice, we got the Eagles, we got the Chiefs, we got
That's
the
tough.
Browns twice.
That's tough.
Like it's gonna be a tough.
Browns
tough
not
run.
Browns not a free win, bro. They
That's
can
what I'm
beat.
saying.
They can
Browns
beat for
and it's
sure.
a division game. Like we
Especially
haven't
the
played
Jameis.
no division games yet. It's only gonna get tougher for us. But
It's tough.
speaking of the Steelers, they picked up Mike Williams and Preston Smith
Yes.
during this past week. I think 2 upgrades that definitely were needed. More Mike Williams. I would say Preston Smith. That's more like that luxury to have.
Yeah.
If anyone gets hurt, hopefully not. And just for depth, like you said, give T.J. Watt and Highsmith more of a rest sometimes. But I think both these players improve us.
I agree. I mean, the Mike Williams front, it's crazy because in the offseason there was a lot of talks about the Steelers maybe inquiring for 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk. But, like, at the same time, a lot of people were clowning the Steelers like, oh, you were in the market for Devontae Adams, you were talking about Amari Cooper, but you ended up with Mike Williams. I still think this is the wide receiver. Like, Mike Williams is still a good player, bro.
Yeah.
Mike Williams is still a good player, and to put him alongside George Pickens, y'all didn't really need that much. I don't think I needed that much.
I agree.
I did like that y'all added another body in that offense. I mean, Calvin Austin's been having a good season still, but just having another veteran, experienced wide receiver I expect him to create great chemistry with Russell Wilson anyway. That was a good move.
Like that's a perfect, I feel like, type of receiver to pair with Russ.
Right.
Russ loves the deep threat, the play action, go balls, the crossers, and someone who can threaten people vertically, not with just his athletic ability, but he can also go get a jump ball,
Yes.
just up in the air. George
50-50
Pickens,
ball.
he's a great 50-50 ball. Now we bring in we got 2 big, tall, athletic receivers. I feel like that's perfect for Russell Wilson and the Steelers want to do, because the Steelers also want to run the ball. They both run block when engaged, and now now I think we could really see what this offense can do. Now Calvin Austin, Van Jefferson, both 2 good wide receiver 3s in my opinion. You feel me? But I think this right here, Mike Williams can resurrect his career with Russell Wilson.
And he's still coming off injury too. Like, I know the first half of his season with the Jets wasn't the best, but I think as we go along to the season, we're going to start seeing the Mike Williams that we've seen previously when healthy. So I think we should give him some more time, to incorporate himself, especially with a new team. So I'm excited to see that move flourish.
Another small move, I would say. Cowboys picked up Jonathan Mingo. This didn't do much for me.
Giving up a 4th, that was a rich price. That was a very rich
Giving
price.
up a 4 for someone who hasn't
Done much.
been that guy yet.
Yes.
I mean, maybe he's still young, but I don't know. The 4th round pick, I feel like you could have went and got someone more proven. I definitely think you could have got with a 4th round pick. And
I think they should have went for a more veteran wide receiver, in my opinion, too. Now, of course, Dak Prescott getting hurt, that kind of got in the way of a few things. Now you're going to have Cooper Rush under him for the next few weeks after putting Prescott on IR. That was a tough blow.
Yeah.
But I mean, you couldn't get a D Hop with that fourth.
Definitely could have got a D.
Could have got that. Like I don't know why.
Could have got a Mike.
If you could have. If we're going to talk about looking at the Panthers wide receiver room, I mean, before Deontay got traded, there were two other wide receivers that I would have rather them look at. Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen. Those would have been good wide receivers to pair alongside CeeDee Lamb and actually have them as the perfect wide receiver to have in front of a Jalen Tolbert and a Brandon Cooks that's suffering injuries. So Jonathan Mingo, like that's nothing burger to me. Like
that's a
it's not moving the needle. And Jerry Jones
is
gonna say that's a player they like since college. They like his skill set a lot, but I just don't think that's gonna do much. And giving up a fourth, I mean, if they would have like getting him is not bad. It's like
like
the end of the world.
He's still young, so he got potential, But I just don't understand like why not? If you're in win now mood, I'm assuming like, are you tanking now?
Do we know? I mean,
like
the way they're paying some of their players, then I would have to hope so.
Like now, I'm just confused on what they're trying to do, but. Enough with the Cowboys. We got Khalil Herbert. He was traded to the Bengals from the Bears.
Yes.
How do we feel about that? Now, I think this is a pretty good move for the Bengals. Like, Zach Moss just went down for injury. We don't know the extent of how long he's going to be out. It's sounding like a while.
It is a neck injury, so that's not something you want to play with. So.
Exactly. So, with Herbert, I think this is a nice complementary piece, especially to add with Chase Brown. Just to spell him when he's tired. I think Herbert, we see him be a solid running back.
Yeah, I mean, Khalil Herbert, he's been putting in work. He hasn't really found the opportunity in Chicago to really like take over that backfield. He's had some competition with David Montgomery in 2022, DeAndre Swift this year, and Roschon Johnson. So it's been a crowded backfield to really find his footing. But overall, I mean, even now that Zach Moss is hurt, I think Chase Brown is really going to take the reins to be that guy in that backfield. But like you said, when it's time to sub Chase Brown out and give him a little spell, I think Khalil Herbert could be perfect in that offense and just offer another rushing attack. So I think this is a good move. I'm glad that the Bengals are still buying in a buying mode because I know their season was drifting off. But shit, I believe they can go on a run if they believe they can. I know the health hasn't really been on their side too. Like they're most likely going to miss T. Higgins for tonight's game against the Ravens. But I think the Bengals can go on a run regardless. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, regardless of how tough the AFC North is, they can get it done.
I think they can go on a run. Like I said, it's going to be an uphill battle, but I think it starts with tonight's game. If they lose tonight's game, I think their season might be done.
It's not looking pretty.
4-6 is going to be tough to come back on, especially when they got 2 Steelers games, more division games against the Browns and other tough opponents. But they've played a pretty difficult schedule as well so far. So I also want to give them some type of leniency. You feel me? But overall, I think it was a pretty good move. Now, I think one of the most impactful moves to me was a Darius Smith to the Detroit Lions. Obviously, with Hutchinson going down or season-ending injury, hopefully he becomes back fully healthy next year. But they needed another star pass rusher. Maybe the Darius isn't a star like he once was, but he's still a very, very good player, and I think the Lions needed him for pass rush.
They definitely needed that, and I think this was a move that was in the making for a few weeks. Even ever since Hutchinson did go down with that injury, I think a lot of signs were pointing to Detroit addressing that need because if they want to make a good playoff push, and they're first in the NFC right now, but if they want to maintain at least that seeding, keep the bye control, and then go into the playoffs, going into some teams that they fell short last season, they're gonna have to need some more power on that pass rush. So going there, making that move for Zadarius Smith, I like it. There was some talk about them aiming higher for Max Crosby. I thought that was pretty unrealistic. I don't think they needed to go that far, but like you said, Zadarius, he isn't the player he once was, but I think he could fill at least a good amount of that role that Hutchinson had. So I like that the Lions were aggressive. They went out and made that move, and I'm excited about their defense going forward.
Another move that I'm kind of interested in is Baron Browning to the Cardinals, right? So this is a linebacker from the Denver Broncos. As a Broncos fan for the past, years prior, Baron Browning has a lot of potential. He's that raw, athletic outside pass rusher. Now that he's giving us a chance to, all right, you're coming to a team being the number one guy, I want to see exactly what he's made of, what his actual potential is. And this move I just like for the Cardinals overall because they've had some injuries to their line so far, and their pass rush hasn't been good pretty much all year. If they're leading the NFC West right now, if they're gonna make a playoff push or just even maintain like a good, positive record, they needed more pass rush, and I think this was a solid move, especially for the price.
No, for sure. I mean, Jonathan Gannon-led defense. I can't disrespect it too much. I mean, as an Eagles fan, I do have some trauma in the Super Bowl with that. But overall, in most of the season, Jonathan Gannon, he's led this Cardinals team to, like you said, be competitive in this NFC West. They're leading the division. They're going to be competitive, at least hopefully, throughout the rest of the way. And like you said, so there's some names that they have already: Buda Baker, Kaiser White. Those are some good players that are really productive on that side of the ball. So getting another linebacker and another player to add to their pass rush, I think they definitely needed that. On the Broncos end, I get selling a player like him, but I don't know. I like the Broncos defense a lot. I think that's kept them in a lot of games this year. So
it's interesting on the Broncos part.
That was questionable at least, but I like to see the Cardinals be aggressive because, bro, the NFC West is wide open, bro.
It is.
Like that's gonna be, in my opinion, the most interesting division throughout.
I agree.
Because no team is dead yet, but no team is at least perfect at the end of the day.
I agree. Last move we're gonna talk about Deontay Johnson to the Ravens.
Yeah, that was good.
Obviously he's played a week with them already. Didn't do much.
Didn't do much at all.
With only 1 week's of practice, I think that's a lot to improve on. I think this week and moving forward, we're gonna see exactly how this offense looks with Deontay next to Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, and the rest of the crew. I think this was a good move for the Ravens. Obviously, they're in win-now mode as they've been for the past few years. They want that guy to where, okay, we're gonna double Zay Flowers, 1-on-1 Deontay Johnson. Now let's see how you get with that. And it's not gonna favor a lot of teams. A lot of teams don't got a good 2 and 3 corner. So Deontay Johnson is a good receiver. He's always been, he's not a A receiver, but he's always been a B+ receiver.
Deontay underrated, bro.
Yeah.
Like I love to see that he's now in a contender situation again. I never wanted to see him be traded away from the Steelers. I didn't like that move. I feel like he could have stayed over there, especially with Russ now.
Interesting.
But shit, now that he's with Lamar, I mean that's even better. And him alongside Zay Flowers, still have Mark Andrews. He's finding his footing. Isaiah Likely, he's dealing with an injury, but he'll be back sooner than later. I think overall the Baltimore Ravens are forming an offense now that could be really superior around Lamar Jackson. It fits for him. 2 wide receivers that can get it done. Not star wide receivers in any means, but like I said, wide receivers that could be productive in big games, high leverage moments, and when you need to get a first down. I like Zay Flowers and Deontay to go get one out there. I think Zay Flowers, he could burn defenders. Deontay, he can go out there, he can get a 50-50 ball, he can run cross routes, he can do different things. He's very versatile. You can throw him in the slot. He's been a wide receiver 1 in different situations. Been a wide receiver 2. I think you can move him around the field. You still got Derrick Henry in the backfield. I'm liking the Ravens going forward. I'm not gonna lie.
I do. I like the Ravens. I'm mad he went to a division rival, but
that was a bad
at the end of the day,
that was a bad job.
At the end of the day, we move on. Is there any teams you wish made a trade, or like, is any overall like teams you're disappointed in?
I was surprised I didn't see enough like Eagle smoke. I'm not saying they would have made a move, but I don't know. It just wasn't enough like rumors for me.
I think they probably just grabbed everyone.
They made their moves in the
offseason. Yeah, I think
but
they just.
Howie's is always aggressive though, so it's like not being linked to any names. I'm not saying that they should have made a move. It was just surprising though.
Okay.
I'll say another move was Travis Etienne. I'm surprised he didn't get traded out of Jacksonville.
Really?
When he's missed a few weeks with a hamstring injury, and during that time, Tank Bigsby has really taken over as RB1 in that Jacksonville system. Now that he's coming back, it's kind of going back to like a now 50-50 split backfield. I'm a big Tank Bigsby fan. I think he's a great runner, not the best pass catcher, but I think like every three down running back, you could bank on Tank Bigsby. You could bank on him in the goal line too. Now Etienne, he's more of a pass catcher, so I kind of get it. Like it's kind of hand in hand. They kind of complement each other, but overall, I would like to see him in a different system. I'm not gonna lie, because the Jacksonville, they should have been a team that should have been selling a little more. Their season is pretty much over, especially after losing Christian Kirk to a season-ending injury too. And now that Trevor Lawrence, he's dealing with an injury too. He might not play this Sunday. So overall, it's another season that they gotta just throw in the trash and just move forward, bro.
They're in an interesting situation. They probably keep Etienne just him and Trevor Lawrence, play
Clemson together.
That little chemistry right there, but. Anyway, let's talk about Week 10 a little bit, just a few games.
Right.
Who you like in this Bengals-Ravens matchup, Thursday Night Football?
To keep it simple, see, I don't know though, because like the Bengals, they definitely going on a run, trying to win every game as possible. I mean, every team's trying to win every game now.
Right.
I'm glad that we're finally hitting the stretch to where every game matters.
Every game matters.
Teams are really trying to bulk up and make sure to get these dubs. But overall, I think the Ravens get it done tonight. I think they've shown enough dominance against other AFC teams that after the Chiefs, they're two. They're number two right there. And I think Lamar can have another performance and another opportunity to show why he should be the MVP this season. I know we're going to get into that in one of our other episodes, but I'm really feeling him for that award this year. And overall, I mean, like you said, divisional game is going to be tough on both sides, but I think the Ravens do get the job done tonight.
I'm leaning with the underdog, the Bengals. Ravens beat them at home. I think the Bengals could go back and beat them at home. I just think, obviously, it's a big loss with no T. Higgins, but I do think that the Bengals can still throw all over the field against the Ravens. They specialize in stopping the run. The Bengals, I expect to throw the ball over it a lot. Might be a 300-yard pass day for Joe Burrow. Like, I wouldn't be surprised because this is what's going to be needed if they're going to win this game.
Right.
I'm expecting a big game from Joe Butter, and I think he gets it done.
Joe Shiesty.
It's
It's going to be a good one for sure, though.
Eagles, Cowboys. Talk to me.
It's a weird one, bro, because, like, boom. Last Sunday, we heard the news that Dak Prescott suffered a hamstring injury and a hand injury, so he's really banged up. And then he's going to miss the next 4 games, but miss this one, too. CeeDee Lamb, he's suffering an AC joint injury, so he's going to be a little banged up. He did say he'll play, but the Cowboys under Cooper Rush, I mean, I'm not going to fully write them out and say that it's going to be a blowout, but I like my Eagles to get it done, of course. You know what I mean? I think the Eagles, they're back in the right side now. Don't get me wrong. Last Sunday against Jacksonville was a little shaky. We almost blew that game.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
That was crazy.
I'm not gonna lie, that was
crazy.
crazy work if we lost that game. But I do think they get it done against Dallas. I'm not that high on Dallas this year. I'm not even sure if they even make the playoffs this year. Eagles, they get it done. They keep the win streak alive.
Yeah, I'm not sure the Cowboys' season is still going on either. I think they lose this game, close game, just for division rival. They know each other well, but ultimately the Eagles get the job done, and the Cowboys' season pretty much ends there. Especially with Dak going to be out for a few weeks. So, I wonder how they feel that they paid Dak at this point.
How do you feel about that? Because they right before the season they paid Dak and CD top dollar, like after holding off for the whole summer too.
It's gonna be hard to pay Micah. Like Micah it's a solid chance that he walks.
Really?
That's a solid chance, especially when it's not a great situation that he's about to go back to. Contract about to be up. He wants to go to a team that's winning. He wants to, stay in the media. So I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves the Cowboys. Honestly,
my thing is like you gotta tag him or something, bro. Like get some value from him. That's crazy because like you said, and that comes with paying like talents like that top dollar. Like it squeezes your cap. You really can't spread that alongside other players. Not like you have the most picks in the world either, but I think that's a Cook situation. I mean, if they don't make the playoffs, I'm thinking fire Mike McCarthy, starters. Like
might be that time.
Get a new voice in there, start early. But this is another thing with the Cowboys is like, I mean, I'm glad I'm seeing the demise as an Eagles fan, but just looking at it in a logical standpoint, I think they avoided the tough decision they had to make with letting Dak Prescott go. And starting early for looking at another quarterback. Like as we've seen over the past 2 years, there's been a lot of young quarterbacks around the league that they could have targeted. They could have keyed them in as a young staple in their franchise. Like I see no reason why they could have made a move at the top of the draft to target a JJ McCarthy.
Either that, you have a young quarterback on your roster. You could have tried to start
Trey
with
Lance.
Even it's some solid free agents out there. Like Russell's still out there this offseason. Not saying he could have been a Cowboy, but
Kirk was out there too.
It's dudes that they could have went with that they just still stuck with Dak. I don't think it was the right move. I think you went with Lance. You pay Micah and CD, right? So now those are your 2 best players. Obviously, Dak is playing a less important position, but he's not an elite person at that.
Right.
You feel me? So in my opinion, we've seen enough from Dak. Like, what is he, 2-7 in the playoffs, 1-7, 2-8, some of that nature. Like, I think, and he's played with good teams. Like, so it's not like he's had lack of talent. So I think we just know what Dak is. They know what Dak is. They just hung on for too long.
No, for sure. I mean, last year would have been the right year to, even if you could have got something in the trade, and like you said, maybe just try a year with Trey Lance. Not saying that he's the guy, but that gives you a year to evaluate other options, whether you want to target your guy in the draft, do trade. We've seen many teams do this. We've seen the Falcons do it last year. They didn't really do the best with Desmond Ritter, but they spent a lot of their money doing their research on Kirk Cousins, even after the Achilles injury,
Right.
and had belief in him, and still signed him. They even drafted Michael Penix as insurance.
Yeah.
So they value the quarterback position over the summer, and doing a lot of research in there to make sure they ensure that to really optimize their weapons too, like Drake London, B. John Robinson in the backfield, and even Kyle Pitts, and even signing different veterans for the low, but even making them look better, like Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod. Like these players are looking a lot better under Kirk, and that's from him being a ceiling raising quarterback.
Right.
So overall, the Cowboys Cook situation, like always, not really optimistic from here. Might miss the playoffs, but NFC East, man, just
It's looking like they're gonna miss the
Crazy.
playoffs. Lions at Texans. This is gonna be an interesting one.
Yes.
This could be one of them trap games for the Lions. Now I'm not gonna choose the Texans to win this game, but because they're still a good team, I wouldn't even call it a trap game necessarily. But
Right.
it's just okay. You're going against a team with CJ a little binged up. Nico and Stephon won't be playing, so you can see like Lions should walk in and get the dub, but this might be a little tougher than expected.
I agree, especially that we're going to be in Houston. Like you said, the Lions, I mean, they've been blowing the doors out there opponents in recent weeks.
Mhm.
I think the Texans, they've been, without Nico and Stephon, CJ, he hasn't been the best, but he's still fighting, bro. Like, him and Tank Dell, that connection is still alive, like, especially in that Jets game last game. Like you said, coming off a tough game like that, I don't know. I think the Texans, they looking for a bounce back win at home, like you said. I'm not going to take them to win this game, but I would not be surprised if after 3 quarters we're looking at a very close game that could go either way. So
I agree.
any Sunday anybody can win. So anybody can win on any given Sunday.
Absolutely. So another John we wanted to add. We asked you guys on Twitter for some fantasy questions. We're going to be doing this almost weekly now. We're going to be asking on Twitter and Instagram for you guys' fantasy questions and just anything you want to learn or just hear from us from our fantasy perspectives.
Yes, sir.
Our first question up. Listen.
It's a tough one. It said, first question, should I trade Christian McCaffrey and my second quarterback, either Baker Mayfield or Joe Burrow, for Devontae Adams and Kyron Williams? This is a tough one now. I don't really know your position in your league right now and overall like where you stand, but just from a basic standpoint, I mean, you're looking to trade a Christian McCaffrey that's looking to return this week 10, from his injury. He said that he's still good in practice, so avoiding any re-aggravation, he should be good. Like, he should be fine.
All right.
And a Joe Burrow and a Baker Mayfield that they've been having some good seasons. They've been
Two pretty good quarterbacks.
two pretty good quarterbacks that's been having a lot of production this year. Put them for a Devontae Adams he's on an upward stick. I would say an upward tick with the Jets.
I would say they're finding their groove now.
Definitely finding their groove. Definitely getting his chemistry back with Aaron Rodgers and Kyron Williams, who's been, I think, a top 5 player this year in fantasy.
I think, like you said, I think it depends on the situation. If you're currently 2-7, right? 2-7, 3-6. You're looking for a spark.
I get this done.
I
get this done.
I think you do the deal. Like, and if you're 7-2, you're having a good season. You're just adding CMC to an already pretty good team.
Right.
I mean, you feel me? Like, he's been out for you. I'm sure you drafted him. So hopefully your season isn't going too badly. But if you're in a solid position where you can make the playoffs, I say you hold on to CMC because barring any injury, I believe we all think he's the best player in football or in fantasy.
Fully healthy, he can be. He definitely has that potential to be. And we've seen that for many years. But, I mean, another thing from this question I see that you have both Baker Mayfield and Joe Burrow. So trading the other really wouldn't hurt you that much.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you ship CMC, you get a Kyron Williams back who's been better. I mean, obviously, CMC hasn't been playing, but Kyron Williams has shown you this season that he could be a really productive quarterback. A really productive running back could potentially be a top 3 RB. I mean, after Saquon and Devon Achane, I mean, Kyron, he's in those talks too. So getting a workhorse like that eventually would boost you, especially if you have a 2-7 record. But you also get Devontae Adams, like we said, to find his chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. You can slot him into your lineup regardless of what receivers you have. He could be your wide receiver 1 if your receiving core not looking too crazy.
Right.
So overall, I would do this deal because, like I said, you would still have a Baker Mayfield or a Joe Burrow as your quarterbacks. But if I were you, try to get Baker in that deal so you can keep Joe Burrow because any fantasy team with Joe Burrow, Kyron Williams, and Devontae Adams. I don't know what position you would be, but you're looking to make a run, and you should be stacking some wins in weeks going forward. So I would do that deal, bro. Get that done. Get that done for sure.
Okay. Next question we have up now. Would you trade Kamara for an elite receiver like Nico or Justin Jefferson? My other running backs are CMC and Brian Robinson. Other receivers are Garrett Wilson and Devontae Smith. I'm 5-4. CJ Stroud is my QB, and this is a half PPR league.
5-4. So
you're in a playoff hunt or in the playoffs as of right now.
You're for sure in the hunt. You shouldn't be too comfortable, but at the same time, you shouldn't be too concerned. I mean, CJ Stroud is your quarterback. He's been doing good this season up to this point. Now that he's without Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs, he only has Tank Dell, so his value indirectly drops as well. But I mean, your running back core is looking promising with CMC coming back. I do like Brian Robinson a lot. I mean, your wide receiver core has Garrett and Devontae Smith, two really good wide receivers. But
I'll say you got a receiver one with Garrett Wilson. In my opinion, he's one of the most targeted players in the league, if not the most targeted. He's third in yards right now. So you have receiver one. I think Devontae Williams is a great receiver two to have. So I definitely think you have a good receiving core, in my opinion.
But you're in his position, not to cut you off. Do you want to make a swing for like that guy in your wide receiver core? Because Nico and Justin Jefferson, like that's your guy. You know what I mean? And then you have CMC and Brian Robinson as your running back, so you're still very comfortable about your core there. Because as much as I like Garrett Wilson and Devontae Smith, they definitely have some ceilings on them sometimes. Sometimes they can have some ceilings on them, and then
I would definitely say so because they're in two great in receiver duos, but they're a part of the receiver duo. They're in great spots. I think the Eagles are a high octane offense. The Jets, they haven't maybe showed it so far, but Garrett Wilson all year has been putting up his numbers, and now their offense is about to take another step. I think those are in my opinion, two solid ones. And then especially if it's a half PPR league,
that stuff as well.
I think you stay with CMC because I think he's about to be in a high octane offense. That's an offense that's about to score a lot of points. You see him, he's gonna get a lot of red zone opportunities. Kamara is just in he's still gonna do him, but he's just in a little harder of a situation, I would say. Now, if you go Nico, we're hoping he comes back healthy as ever in 2 weeks.
That's the thing. If you're making that move, it has to be a Justin Jefferson. If we wouldn't play the specific game, because in Nico Collins, you're trading Alvin Kamara for a player that might miss a week, and you're 5-4. That's a tough line to
every
cross,
week
bro.
at this point.
Like you said, you need every week. You need all your guys to be all hands on deck. So if you could maybe package Kamara in now, I don't know who you're trading with, but if they want you to include another piece, I mean, if it's for Justin Jefferson, I still get that done, bro. Because if you can get Justin Jefferson in a lineup with Christian McCaffrey and good surrounding players like C.J. Stroud and Brian Robinson, so you don't really have no weak link in your lineup, I think you could make a run and probably go for a top 2 seed in the league, bro. So 5-4, I mean, like you said, this is the time in the season where you got to make a swing. 5-4 after 9 weeks. If you're gonna make a trade, aim for the highest possible. But if you can't get a Justin Jefferson or a top guy for Kamara, stay down with your team, keep doing your homework, and keep going, bro.
I would say, in my opinion, in your shoes, I would keep Kamara. That way you're going Kamara, CMC is your 2 running backs. That's probably the best, running back duo in your league.
For sure.
Garrett Wilson and Devontae Smith is also a really good receiving core. Stroud, hopefully, if Nico comes back, the Nico that you're expecting, then Stroud's number is going to go up as well. And, I just think that, these are 2 running backs that it's just a crazy duo. We know how crazy running backs are to get and, just get great production from them on a week-to-week basis.
The running back market price in fantasy leagues is crazy because so many of them have suffered injuries so far that the ones that are left, that the price for them in trades are twice as much, bro. You got to pay up. So trading a running back, a great running back in Alvin Kamara like that, that's tough, bro. That's a tough price. But like I said, if you could do it for a guy like Justin Jefferson, you do it 10 times out of 10. But if I were you, I'd stay down now. If I were you, a suggestion would be maybe try to look at the quarterback market and see if you can find an upgrade for Stroud for the time being, for at least the next week or two, to see when Nico Collins come back. Because that's what I did in our league, in our NU fantasy league.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud's been my quarterback this season, but I really haven't been liking his production the past few weeks. Having weeks where he gets me 5 points, 11 points. That's not enough for my ceiling, especially since I'm a 4-5 team right now. So I scoured the market. I did a deal with Well earlier this week. I know you saw it. I got Brock Purdy. I got Brock Purdy in a trade. I like Brock Purdy going forward.
Yeah, I do
CMC going back.
I do too.
CMC going back in that offense. I mean, that boosts everybody's stock. I know they don't have Brandon Ayuk, but you know they always plug and play players in that system, and they always find players to get it done. But I like Brock Purdy for the foreseeable future now. When Nico Collins does come back, it's going to be a hard decision for me to see who do I start going forward. But right now, with a CJ Stroud, with just Tank Dell, I don't know. And another thing I was disappointed with that was the Texans not making a minor wide receiver move before the deadline. I would like to see them at least address the position a little bit. I know they have some good depth receivers in Xavier Hutchinson and Robert Woods, so they good plug and play players alongside Tank Dell when there's only him as wide receiver one. But I don't know. I would have just liked to see a little something, just a little.
I think
at least as a Stroud owner.
I think as a Stroud owner, that makes sense. But like, and just in their shoes, I think you have, Diggs. He's hurt now. He will come back next year. I don't think you go overpay for another receiver or
nobody too crazy. Like something like you give like a little 5th, 6th, or 7th for it. But like you said, like who's really around the league that we're gonna make that move for? But I would just like to see them a little more active in that department.
Another fantasy question we have is with this new look Dolphins, Tua coming back. A lot of people thought, Jalen Waddle, and Tyreek Hill would, more specifically Jalen Waddle would maybe start to step up in points per game and just overall production, because obviously throughout this year with Tua being hurt, Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, specifically Waddle, haven't been living up to par. Is Jalen Waddle still like a fantasy wide receiver 2, or like he's going down in the rankings in a lot of people's eyes?
He's for sure going down. I mean, I still think he's relevant, but like at this point, Jalen Waddle is no more than a flex option for me. Like if I'm a Jalen Waddle owner, I can't have him more as a flex play. Because like you said, we hoped for Tua to give him that boost once he's come back, and now Tua's been back for a couple of weeks. We really haven't seen Waddle pop off the way we thought, and I don't know. This might just be the new norm for at least this season, or at least in the foreseeable future. So, if you're a Waddle owner, I mean, you gotta go at least look at the wide receiver market, see if you can make an upgrade. I don't know how much value you can even get out of Jalen Waddle himself, but overall, that's tough.
I want to say that they just went against a solid Bills team last week. They ran pretty effectively, but maybe they got to go against a team that stops to run maybe solidly well. The Bills gave up 7-6 a carry, so why would you stop running, right? So maybe we put that in perspective, but I think Waddle still can pick it up. Now, do I feel, as a Jalen Waddle owner myself, do I feel as confident as I did drafting him in the 4th round? No, I don't. But I still think there's going to be spike weeks where he can go for 6 for 90, 98 and a touchdown.
No, for sure. It's boom or bust with anybody in the Dolphins offense. Like anybody could go for a crazy week, but some players could have a dud. Like even Tyreek Hill, people that drafted Tyreek Hill this season, I know a lot of those owners are disappointed. They thought they were getting more production out of him. Now, obviously, the Tua injury was a big reason for that. But Tyreek Hill hasn't been the Tyreek Hill we've known of, like as far as production-wise. But overall, I mean, Jalen Waddle, I think he's still a solid flex play, a solid flex player you can have in your flex. But as a wide receiver too, I'm a little concerned if that's his spot now. Like you said, we're at the point where we have a lot of injuries to players, a lot of bye weeks. So it might be times where you have to throw Jalen Waddle in your lineup. It isn't the end of the world. You should still be confident in him.
That's not
the confidence shouldn't be overly confident like it used to be, or like it was expected going into the season.
I agree with that. So I'm sure a lot of people every week wants to know the favorite waiver wire pickups, and we're just gonna give you a few of our favorites. What's 2 of your favorites from this week for our Week 10 waiver wire pickups?
I mean, like we said, we're in Week 10, so a lot of the guys that had major value in waiver wire are pretty much gone. We're trying to see, like, are there any hidden gems for the rest of the season, or are there any guys that you can plug in and force somebody that has a bye week? But overall, a player I like is Xavier Legette from the Panthers. I think after they traded Mingo, after they traded Deontay Johnson and Adam Thielen, he's still dealing with an injury. I think it's time for Legette to really get an opportunity in that offense now. He still has Bryce Young as his quarterback, so the ceiling is unfortunately still capped. But
But last 2 weeks he scored a touchdown.
no, he definitely scored a touchdown. But he's somebody that at least for the rest of the season, hopefully can be at least productive in that role because he is still a rookie. You know what I mean? So
yeah, he's a rookie, but it's not going to be too much competition for him. So I definitely agree with you. That's a great waiver wire pickup. Him and Bryce Young's chemistry is starting to come together. Just grabbed a win. Like maybe who knows?
So
like
they're a little confident.
Maybe the confidence start to grow.
And they play the Giants too, so they could maybe get another one. Maybe.
And we know, last year Bryce Young, Adam Thielen was his favorite target. So maybe that's it's two players right there that can be solid for Bryce Young. But
right.
One of my favorites, I'm sure. As we see, Jameis Winston going to the Browns, how that's changed, what's going on there. Obviously, Amari Cooper left the receiver room, so I'm pretty sure we all know about Cedric Tillman now. If we don't, his last few weeks have been pretty insane. He's one of the best receivers fantasy-wise over the past few weeks. But if he's not available, I think Jerry Jeudy is still someone you can go pick up and be confident about. We know Winston's he's a gunslinger.
Yeah.
He's always been, he always will be. This is not a Browns team I think will have leads a lot. They're going to be relying on the pass, trying to come back into games.
Trying to get in the air.
And with, so much ability that I think Jerry Jeudy kind of still has. Like, he may not have panned out, as an Alabama receiver how he wanted to, but he's still solidly young. And then the offense that's going to have a lot of high volume, I think this is a solid waiver wire pickup.
I think it's really solid, too. Like you said, the Browns, a lot of game scripts are going to be looking for them to get in the air, get points in the air, not really looking to run the ball too much. So I think Jerry Jeudy or Cedric Tillman, if he's still available on your waiver wire, could be good adds. Another player I like is Mike Gesicki. T. Higgins will most likely miss another game for the Bengals, and overall, he's been their pretty much second option in the air outside of T alongside Jamar Chase. So if anybody's lacking a tight end or your tight end maybe has a bye week or dealing with an injury, I think that's a great player to pick up. Because you can never doubt on a player in the Bengals offense,
Nah, yeah, especially with their high volume. Speaking of that, I think I kind of have like a two-player stack, not really, but if you can do it, this wouldn't be a bad idea. I would say grabbing Justin Herbert and Quentin Johnston wouldn't be the worst move right now. Obviously, before this year, we knew Justin Herbert was probably going to be just a quarterback with, playing with Jim Harbaugh in that scheme. They just throw the ball a little less. They were trying to rely on J.K. Dobbins, rely on just the running back core and see how far that'll take them. But over the past few weeks, Ladd McConkey and more specifically Quentin Johnston has been some of the best, receivers in football.
Right.
The passing volume for the whole offense is going up, and both of the receivers are, benefiting from it.
No, for sure. I mean, I got Ladd McConkey. I'm a Ladd McConkey owner, so I've been having him in my flex. He's been pretty productive for me. Quentin Johnston has been better. I think he got 2 touchdowns last Sunday, so that was a good performance. I'm not sure if he can keep that up going forward, but, I mean, if you're in a deep league and you really need options, maybe even a Josh Palmer could be considered too. The Chargers, I mean, they're leaning more into the pass game. They're kind of, I wouldn't say embedded in the run.
I really like Winston, bro. I think he's starting to find his groove.
A lot of people gave him trash for his rookie year, bro. A lot of people gave him trash for a down year. I didn't really like that. I mean, he was always solid to me. He was never too crazy, but like you said, he's finding his footing. And him alongside McConkey, I mean, I think Herbert, he got some good young weapons he can lean on.
Young weapons, you feel me? Quentin's still 6'3", athletic, you feel me? He's a big play threat. You add that with big arm like Justin Herbert, that's exactly, remember Mike Williams, he's right in that Mike Williams role in 2021, 2022, you feel me? Deep balls down the field, that's where he can excel at. And I think him and Justin Herbert will be pretty good waiver wire pickups for this week.
No, for sure, I agree. But keep sending y'all questions. Keep letting us know if y'all got any questions, man. Hit our Twitter, hit our Instagram. We here to save y'all season. We here to give y'all a free fantasy game. To tap in with us. Appreciate the questions that for the people that sent the questions. And appreciate that. And just keep them coming, bro. Because we here, man. We trying to save y'all season, like I said.
100%. And as someone with 6-3, I still need to be making my own waiver wire pickups. Obviously, the season is never over. The team could get better every week. That's another fantasy advice I want to give. Just never feel comfortable, never feel complacent.
Always look to get better.
You feel me? It's never about just one stretch. It's about the long run. You're trying to win the Super Bowl in your league, win it all, win some money if you're playing for money. So, like I said, you gotta take every week serious, every move serious.
Even if it's small moves, if you think like it's a stupid little move to make, Do it. Everything matters. I'll say this: 2 years ago, after week 9, my team was 3-6. Wasn't looking too good. Was looking like the season was going to be over, and I won 8 straight weeks and made it all the way to my fantasy championship. Now, I didn't get the job done. I got blown out in the championship, but I would say going from 3-6 to a Super Bowl appearance in the fantasy championship, that's a crazy turnaround. And I will forever hang my head on that. Like that's crazy. I won 8 straight weeks. I put the work in. I did my homework. I did my due diligence. I made moves around the league, and I was never, like you said, I was never complacent. Even when my team turning around, I was active every week on the waiver wire, active with other league mates, looking to see who was available, who wasn't.
That's how you do it.
Be proactive. Don't be reactive, man.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it. This is another great episode of 101.
Yes,
we'll be back next week. Make sure y'all follow us on all socials, Instagram, Twitter. Make sure y'all subscribing to us on YouTube. That's where we mostly post our main videos. And just send us more questions, anything, fantasy relevant, NBA coming back, NFL questions. Just send us anything you want us to speak on, and we'll be back.
We'll be back.
Another great episode.
See you.
We out.
We out. Good.